Because people email me this, like every single day I get an email. How do I convince my brother? How do I convince my mom, my dad? You know, and it's really unfortunate because it's not as satisfying an answer as a lot of people want, but it's not about any argument you have. It's not about any specific data point. Unfortunately, people are generally really irrational when it comes to being convinced of things they have strong emotional stances on, especially in the context of like family members arguing with each other because there's all the context and history of their relationship. It's not so much about the argument, it's about how well you can use your knowledge of the relationship you have. But as a general rule, if ever you're being confronted with an argumentative parent or family member or whatever else, and I mean, this is on anything, whether you're like trans and they're giving you for it, or like gay, or some political position, or they're being a loud Republican, whatever, the first thing you have to ask, and let's be real here, is it really worth having these arguments? A lot of you watch your favorite debate lord streamer, and then you go out to your family outing and you're just itching for a disagreement. I gotta tell you guys, okay, I will often avoid arguments with people around me because it's not always worth getting into an argument with people. Like, seriously, being, even if you're really confident in your ability to debate, that doesn't mean it's like, oh, gloves are off. Anytime I have a disagreement with a friend, family member, a stranger, who cares? I am taking that. I am committing. No, absolutely not. Not at all. I'd be like the idea that like somebody with a black belt in karate must necessarily engage in a death match with everyone who shoulder checks them at a subway station. It doesn't make sense, Having the the tenacity and the calm and the inner peace or whatever to not argue with people who really want to argue with you when you don't think it would be worthwhile. That's an important skill too. It's a valuable lesson to learn. It can cause a lot of drama. It doesn't often lead to good outcomes. That's like lesson number one. Is just you don't have to, right? What if they're teasing / asking for it? Asking for it, my goodness, in my progressive community? No, you're an adult, If they're being annoying, lost cause myth, what about that? If they're being annoying, you don't have to take the bait. You don't have to bite. You don't have to. It's not necessary. Nobody's forcing you to. So, I mean, sometimes, but I think for the most part, you can just avoid these conversations. If you want to come across looking good in any kind of holiday setting, any kind of familial event or whatever, the best thing you can do, more than having the best argument, is make them feel like the burden they're being, Make them feel like, oh, like you're just here to have a good time for the holidays. And they are just pestering you because what they want more than anything is to justify the argument they're clearly jonesing to have with your minimal engagement. You know what I mean? That's what, trust me, as an argumentative person, I can tell you this for a fact, okay? Argumentative people love it when you engage because now they have a pretext. In their head, it's like, oh, I was worried about being annoying, but now that they're engaging, this is like a mutual thing. So the more you make it clear that it's not a mutual thing. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I disagree. We can talk about it some other time. And if they press the issue, you can just be like, it's a holiday event. You really think I want to like waste my time arguing with you when we could be spending time together? And you can be insincere when you say that, by the way. That's fine. You don't have to be fully, you don't have to be fully kind when you say that. But it is a good way to get people to shut up. Generally speaking, if you want to get any kind of productive convo out of this, if you want to have any sort of like, if there's even a shot to be had at changing somebody's mind in a positive way, you want them to come to you, I've said this a million times. It's really important to remember. The only way you're ever going to change somebody's mind in an interpersonal disagreement is if they respect your opinion enough to even allow it to have an effect on their positions. No matter how right you are, if they feel like they're just kind of talking down to some idiot relative, no matter what you say, it's not going to have an effect on them. In fact, the more you commit to your correct positions, the more likely it is that they're not going to listen to you because they're increasingly fearful that they're getting blown out by their idiot relative, If they come to you, if they ask questions instead of making statements, if they're less declarative and more inquisitive, you're more likely to get something good out of that. Vaush, what do you say when they say, oh, it'll never work as an argument? Well, here, hold on, Alex Caraso01. You've already made a critical mistake. You shouldn't be making any declarative statements that they could respond to with, oh, it'll never work. You shouldn't even be giving them the ability to respond with that. If you're having a conversation with your friend or family or whatever, I mean, unless you're in some kind of committed political, I mean, if you just want to get by and through the holidays with the, you know, the best ratio of like positive to negative engagement, you don't want to be laying out any plans or giving them anything to really bite into. You want to make them feel like an inconvenience for bothering you about any of this. I want to take a stand against the fascists, though. No, stop. Snow Desert Judo, you're what they want. Trust me, there is nothing reactionary family members love than these, like, frothing at the mouth, internet poisoned, Zoomer lefties. You're not standing against the fascists by arguing with your family members during the holidays, okay? You're just causing grief for yourself. Don't bother with it. And you'll probably come across looking a lot better with the, like, wise, reserved political position than the one who opens it sort of, or just sort of offers it openly. You know what I mean? Like, if you're known to your family as a left-leaning person and you're just like arguing up a storm, people are going to think of you as the left-leaning person who's being obnoxious and doing the thing they all thought you were going to do. But if you are, you know, committed to your position but don't want to engage with other people's bait because you're here for the holidays, you come across looking like a lot more reserved, and people will respect you more based on that, which makes it more likely they'll take any of your disagreements seriously. That's my best suggestion. Number one is just stay calm. Do you say something if they say racist, homophobic, or transphobic things? I have a hard time deciding to speak up. Well, it really depends on the context of the situation. If there's a group of like 20 people and 19 of them are all guffawing about some homophobic joke, you stepping in as the 20th person is not really likely to make or break the nature of that interaction. That being said, I feel like generally speaking, the best way to respond to any kind of like half-heartedly proposed bigotry in a social setting like that is usually to ask people for context and always never play up the progressive angle, play up the nice angle. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if somebody says something transphobic, you know, like real not nice to trans people, you know, don't go in a screed and like gender politics. It's not going to do anything, or explain how they're morally wrong or whatever. You can just say stuff like, you know, oh, I don't think that's very nice, or I don't get it. Can you explain what that joke meant exactly? Or, oh, I don't understand. I know a trans person back at X, and they seem pretty cool. Usually, because people who are bigots don't want to commit to like the moral weight of their bigotry. They want to be able to just throw jokes out. So if you get them to, if you put them in a position where they have to like double down on or clarify, contextualize, or explain any of the jokes they make, it really quickly starts to make them sound really bad. You know what I mean? Or they can back off of it and they can be like, oh, well, it was just a joke. And you can be like, oh, I just didn't get it. And you just move on, you know, because they know they just lost that. Anytime somebody who's racist makes a racist joke and then has to back off and go like, oh, yeah, I was just joking, they know they've lost. And you know they've lost. And that's fine. You can leave it at that. You know, don't overextend because they've done a little retraction, because the more you assume of their position, the more they're going to force you to lay out and justify on your own terms, and that gets increasingly difficult. So invoke civility politics against the reactionary relative. Yeah, you're at like the holidays. Sure. As a leftist in their late 30s in the Midwest, surrounded by conservative family, this is the best advice you've ever given. Take a big stands during family gathering on loose ground. Yeah, that's the other key move. Okay, like let me put it this way, okay? Let me put it this way, all right? Imagine you're at a DSA meeting. There's lefties there. Well, actually, it's everyone ranging from like liberals to tanky North Korea defenders, okay? Let's imagine you're at a meeting, all right? And you agree with most of the people here about most things, but there are a couple of tanky-leaning people. In fact, there are two people that you're reasonably sure are tankies, but they act in very different ways. And I want you to imagine what your reaction to and perception of them might be. One of them is a loud, open, obnoxious, and argumentative tanky who is looking for fights and going around trying to find disagreements to express their positions over. And the other one is quiet. The other one, who came there with the more obnoxious one, is talking to people, having a drink, just socializing like a normal person. And if it ever comes up in their presence, they're like, oh, I believe X, but let's not get into it, you know. would your respect for that person not immediately be much higher? Even if you believed their positions were the same, does that person not immediately give an air of like they know something you don't? They have a quiet, like calm presence. There might be some depth to their position that is not present in the person who's loudly and argumentatively blaring out any position they have. At the very least, they're not being obnoxious, which is an indication they have more social awareness. You don't want to be, if you're progressive, especially if you're the only progressive or one of the only progressives at a family gathering, you really don't want to fit the stereotype of like the person who came there with a chip on their shoulder and you're young and you're a college student and a college student is like really argumentative and you're so passionate and opinionated, but you haven't seen the real world yet, so you don't really know, do you? And then you go out and you start arguing with everyone. You're very obnoxious. You're very preachy. If you do that, not only do you set people against you, but you fit a stereotype so cleanly that other people don't even feel they need to contest your positions. They can just kind of laugh you off. Not a great place to be in, especially because at a lot of large family gatherings, even if it might feel like everyone there is conservative, that's usually not true. Usually, even if it feels like an entire group of people is, conservative or reactionary, a good number of them are actually kind of like moderate or unaffiliated, or at least not confident in their positions. And they're, even if they're not the easiest to sway, they're a lot more likely to shift based on the mood of the event because they are not committed enough to any position to defend it against a sort of social pressure. Which means that if you go and make an ass of yourself, those people will be set against you. But if you come across as like calm and reserved, and no, I don't feel like arguing about that, blah de blah, you can, I think, usually have more pleasant private conversations with them. Like later on, it can be like, "Oh, I heard, Uncle so and so was haranguing you about this. Are you really a socialist?" "Oh, yeah, I am. And, I know that those conversations tend to spiral out during the holidays, so I don't want to fight with anyone over it. I'm just here to enjoy the food." I swear to God, if you can pull that vibe off when talking to people, that is a very difficult position to shake you from. It's like a stance. You are very grounded. It's very, very, very difficult to like make you look bad when that's the ground you've taken, yeah, you're building yourself your own fortress. Exactly. It's good. It's good to do. And you can apply this to a lot of social situations, interpersonal with friends. It's really just about like constructing the right social framing to your disagreement, making other people either have to back off of you, or if they want to reach out to you, they have to like take that step and take your position seriously enough to engage with. I think this works with family disagreements, whether or not it's the holidays. It can work with friend groups, interpersonal situations at like school or the workplace. Basically, any place where you already know some of the people involved. I feel like you should mention bio families mean jack shit and are totally arbitrary. Found families are more important. Oh, that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about. I'm just saying when you're in the position you're in, you got to come across feeling good. You want to feel good, don't you? You want to know another really good way to filibuster these kinds of conversations? Oh, I tell you, this is undefeatable. This is a secret, okay? This is like Kaioken. I read Dragon Ball recently, all right? This is Kaioken times 10. You think your body's not ready for this? It is, all right? Your power level is going to be shooting through the roof. If you're ever in a situation where you have to weather the indignation of family, friends, whatever, who disagree with you, a great thing that you can do is anecdotes, okay? Don't even make a prescriptive position. Just say something like, "You want to hear something interesting?" Burkina Faso, which is a really desperately poor West African country, just had military dictatorship after military dictatorship after military dictatorship until this guy called Thomas Sankara, a Marxist, came along and immediately improved things in the country. I mean, massive gains in literacy, in the development of pharmacies and hospital care. I mean, really, really, really took things up. I think it's pretty inspirational how even an area as deprived as that can suddenly experience a huge increase in the quality of life based on application of some simple political principles, huh? I wouldn't mention the Marxist part. No, no, no. If people are haranguing you about being a socialist, "Oh, well, why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? Why is this? Why is that?" You don't have to give a prescriptive position. If you want, you can just share an anecdote. And an anecdote is great because people very rarely know how to respond to it. In order for them to challenge what you've said, they either have to like make assumptions about your positions, which can make them look really bad if it comes across as like they're being too antagonistic or whatever. Like if they're like, "Oh, well, that doesn't mean it'll work," and I just think it's interesting. I just have some historical figures that I respect. Um, or they have to like challenge it with some like corresponding anecdote, to which you can just say like, "That's cool," and smile at them. There are so many things you can do to just passively de-escalate the situation around you without backing off your position. That's what I'm really giving you advice on, by the way. It is possible to de-escalate without being a bitch. That's what I'm trying to tell you right now. Those two things are not at all causative in relationship. There's some concurrence between backing off and being a bitch, but in reality, the ability to de-escalate a situation while still looking like you came across the more like knowledgeable or authoritative one, that's a skill, and if applied well, it can make you look really good. That's the hope. Uncle kept baiting me with right-wing comments, pro-capital, race-baiting white grievance. He wasn't this openly racist a few years ago, and it really broke my heart. He kept blaming $15 an hour minimum wage and the inflation labor shortage. This is my question. How does this stuff come up? Like, are you just sitting there eating, like, pumpkin pie, and he's just, like, screaming like an entire PragerU documentary into your left ear? I wonder, like, hey, I'm trying to enjoy my food. You're being pretty weird. Can you leave me alone? I feel like quite often you can make them look, if they're doing that, if they're just haranguing, if they're gunning for an argument that hard, you don't have to engage. If they say 57 retarded things, you don't have to give 57 non-retarded answers. You can just say, hey, I'm just trying to eat my food. I mean, if you really want to upset a conservative, you can say, "Why are you bringing like politics into Christmas?" Which you don't have to. Just passively listening to them is a no-go because they're ruining the vibe. You don't need to engage with this. You want to give the impression that engaging with what they're saying is below you, because it is. That's the impression that you want to give. Don't give arguments that they can bite back into. You're at a family event. You're not here to argue politics. They're the ones breaching social etiquette. Why should you feel like you're committing a social faux pas when they're the ones reciting a Dennis Prager script at you? You shouldn't. You should feel you should be able to just say like, "Hey, I'm just trying to enjoy my food. I don't really want to talk politics with you." Depending on how antagonistic they've been up to that point, you could just say like, "I don't want to, and I don't think it would take too long to explain why you're wrong." If they're being super antagonistic, you can try to bait them with that if they start screaming louder. I mean, eventually past a point, they're being obnoxious enough that you can leverage other people's desire for a quiet, pleasant evening against them. Does anyone else want to talk about something else? Oh, God, by the way, turning around to the rest of the people at the table. Hey, can we talk about something else? I'm really bored of this subject. Oh, my God, in the right time and place, in the right context. Holy shit. Your poor uncle's going to have a fucking heart attack. His blood pressure is going to go through the roof. It can be done. It can absolutely be done. So the you made it political argument? Yeah, that's what I said. You need to do family dinner coaching sessions. Yeah, I just have like an earpiece to people who are, like having a rough family dinner, and I'm like feeding them lines like Patrick and SpongeBob in the driving exam. So Riz is the answer. Riz is the answer to all things. Of course. What if my uncle is a Stalinist or Maoist, though? I don't know. I can see what you're saying, Vaush. When I was homophobic around my brother back in high school, it was honestly because I wanted to win the argument and look good. God, I know that feeling. I did not believe in the homophobia, honestly, though, only to spite out my brother. I was jealous of him being the better son than me. Yeah, and can you imagine how it would have made you feel if you'd been pestering him and he'd just been like, yeah, I don't even care enough to explain why you're wrong. Like, if he hadn't even engaged, I imagine that would have been devastating to your ego, which is the goal, of course. You want to devastate the egos of the people that you're that are ruining your holiday dinner. What are we rounding up politically today? Apparently, holiday advice. Vosh, but even after laying down a coherent argument, do you say just let it go when they say it won't work, though? No. Alex Curris 01, you're misunderstanding. Don't lay down a coherent argument. I'm telling you to not argue. There's no arguments. Don't lay any down. That's a whole different thing. Don't ever have arguments at the holiday event. Don't invest. It's not. If we're talking like an interpersonal direct engagement one-on-one, like you're alone and you're just talking with the other person, and they answer with, "It won't work though," you can just say, "I don't think you understand then. Like, I don't think you even know enough to engage with this." Like, if you're just doing a one-on-one and that's what they have for you, you can just say like, yeah, "Okay, well, I don't think you understand this well enough to even have this explained to you. I can take the time sometime if you want, but for now, yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, it's not really worthwhile. You don't want to do that at a public engagement because that would make you look like a huge if you did, which is why you avoid the arguments. Again, we're talking about like family members, usually reactionary family members at like a holiday dinner. These aren't like exactly the cream of the crop when it comes to political arguments.